They are starting to gather outside of a hospital in Los Angeles, the people who sustained Michael Jackson through much of his life. His fans, passionate, some might say at times hysterical about the 50-year-old singer and cultural icon. He was rushed here a few hours ago after reportedly collapsing at his home from a cardiac arrest, which is about 2.5 kilometers from here. This is a Global National special report on the death of Michael Jackson. I'm Kevin Newman. We are still awaiting official confirmation from the UCLA Medical Center, where multiple reports now say the pop singer passed away from a heart attack. His parents are flying into Los Angeles from their home in Las Vegas, and several members of the famous and infamous Jackson clan have been seen arriving at the hospital in the last few hours. Kim Dion is standing by in the Entertainment Tonight Canada set, where their news teams have been chasing the details of this tragedy all day. Kim, what do we know about Jackson's final hours?
What we do know so far is that when the paramedics arrived, he was apparently not breathing. They tried to resuscitate him. It was about a 6-minute ride from his home to UCLA, where he was handled with extreme care. There's still no word on whether or not he is officially dead, if he died in the ambulance or on the scene, or what's going on. His family is at the hospital, his sisters and brothers. Reports that LaToya, Randy, and Jermaine are there, and that's coming from Brian Oxman, his family's attorney and spokesperson for the Jackson family. They're in a room, they're secluded, they are crying and sobbing, but yet Brian has still not officially confirmed that Michael Jackson has died.
Yeah, and there were several reports, Kim, quoting his father, saying that he was in very, very bad shape. Do we know if, we were watching a few moments ago the pictures from his home where he was staying in Los Angeles, the ambulance pulling up to the front door there. Do we know whether or not any attempts were made to revive him once he made it to the UCLA Medical Center?
Not sure on that. I know that the attempts were made at the home, and I'm assuming in the ambulance. I'm not sure about what happened at the hospital, but that's the only word that we have on what actually happened in the home. Interestingly enough, Brian Oxman was talking a lot about his drug use, his prescription drugs, or the medications that he was on, and that he was very concerned for his health, which is sort of the breaking news out of the hospital right now.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it very much. We'll come back to you if anything else develops. We are hearing just in the last couple of minutes from the LA Coroner's Office confirming, in fact, that Michael Jackson has died. That is the first officer or first official to be able to confirm that information for us. You can see that people are gathering in Los Angeles at this hour. As news begins to spread, it only happened a couple hours ago that Michael Jackson was reported to have suffered a heart attack, and then confirmation to various media sources saying that he had died, whether en route, in his home, inside the hospital, we don't know. We are expecting to hear from officials at the UCLA Medical Center within the next hour with some more details, but we can report at this point that the coroner's office in Los Angeles has confirmed the death of Michael Jackson at the age of 50. Now, he was scheduled to head to Europe to begin a comeback tour in a couple of weeks. In many ways, his popularity had sustained itself elsewhere in the world, not so much in North America, given all the controversies surrounding his life and his relationships with various little boys and children. But in Europe, he was still as popular as ever, in much of Asia as well. Tara Nelson is standing by on the telephone from London, where Tara, he was going to try to resuscitate his career there.
That's right, Kevin. This was a big sort of comeback series of concerts that we're going to launch in just a couple of weeks. The first was the 13th of July, and they were going to spread over the next 7 months. So he was going to do concerts July, August, September in London, and then take a break, and then come back and do a series again January, February, March. And he had been in LA preparing for these concerts, apparently working out with a personal trainer at his house, trying to get into shape physically to make sure that he was up for these 50 concerts. The concert promoter, who has not come out yet, it's well after midnight here in London, so we haven't heard anything from the promoter yet. We expect to tomorrow. But in the past, they have said that Michael Jackson underwent a barrage of tests before they even undertook this agreement with him that he would do these 50 concerts, because they knew just how physically demanding it was going to be for someone who was in good physical condition. And, of course, in the past, we have seen him looking not so well.
Yeah, and I know you attended the news conference in London when he flew in to announce that he was going to try for another comeback tour. And I remember you mentioning to me at the time that he seemed to look pretty healthy.
I think everybody was really surprised that day when he came out on stage. It was a very short appearance. He didn't say much. He just came back to say, "This is it. You know, this is the last time you're going to see me in concert." But everyone was very surprised at how strong and healthy and robust he looked. I mean, even since then, there have been rumors that he was suffering from skin cancer. There was rumors he was suffering from a lung disease. The promoter has come out again to say none of it is true. He's very healthy. And you know, he had to, as I say, to undergo this barrage of tests in order to even be insured for this concert series. From what we understand, this was going to be, each night was going to be a 2-hour concert. So, I mean, this was something that he was really having to prepare physically for, that something, a concert that a 20-year-old would probably have trouble doing night after night, and he, of course, was 50.
Yeah, exactly, and I know he's in training in Los Angeles with that, apparently, reportedly with Lou Ferrigno, the incredible Hulk bodybuilder. All right, Tara, thank you very much. Inevitably, the tabloids are racing this story to the presses in Britain right now, and people around the world are waking up to news that Michael Jackson has died at the age of 50 from an apparent heart attack. We are still standing by for official confirmation of the cause of death, but there were multiple reports that he was rushed to the UCLA Medical Center, where, as you can see, people are gathered outside at this hour. What is not clear at this point is whether or not he had died at home. There were reports from the paramedics in Los Angeles that when they arrived at his home, about 2.5 kilometers rather, from UCLA Medical Center, that he was not breathing at that time. There were other reports that eyewitnesses saw them trying to resuscitate Jackson on the way to the hospital, and we are also hearing from medical staff that they attempted to revive him in the hospital, but whether or not he died there or whether or not he was already dead when the paramedics arrived, we'll have to wait and hear official word of that. You know, Michael Jackson was controversial, as I mentioned, but it's also worth remembering he had a profound impact on many of us growing up. Lots of us listened to his music, enjoyed his music. Chris Lackner is the arts editor for the CanWest News Service. He's joining us now from their Ottawa bureau. Chris, give us a sense of his impact musically, particularly in the 80s, I would think.
Well, Kevin, I think it's safe to say that Michael Jackson was essentially the father of the MTV generation. The one thing that stands out above all, you know, is first his video Thriller, which revolutionized the way videos are made. It was a 15-minute short film with special effects that could contend with horror films at the time, and even some of the horror films that are made today. And you also have him being kind of the father of modern dance choreography. No one had done the sort of choreographed routines he pulled into his stage shows and his videos throughout the 80s.
Dance like him, nobody really could. I mean, some of the moves, the moonwalk, and some of the ones that we're seeing from, of course, his most popular video ever, which was for Thriller, just really did redefine pop music at the time. How long was he able to sustain that popularity? And, I mean, who can ever sustain it forever?
Well, you bring up a good point with moonwalk. I don't think that a single move has been invented in dance music history that rivals that move. He unveiled that on a live show in which he was performing in Billie Jean, and I think that countless imitators have tried to come up with a signature move like that, but no one has ever managed to match the pure audacity of that move. But when it was unleashed at the time, it was just talked about all over the place.
I know, I think we all tried to duplicate it in some way to try to impress somebody, and we never could. So that will be part of his legacy. Chris, thank you very much. That's Chris Lackner, the arts editor of the CanWest News Service. And our reporting continues now on the death of Michael Jackson as we look outside of UCLA Medical Center there, where, as you can see, the crowds are growing by the hundreds every hour as news starts to spread. His fans, unusually dedicated to this singer for all of his ordeals. Wherever you saw him going in and out of court, there would be people expressing their devotion, their almost love for him, and they will, of course, be crushed by news that Michael Jackson has died at 50 years old. He leaves 3 children, by the way. Very famous stories about those children, and inevitably all of this will become much more clear in the next few hours as we hear official word of the passing of Michael Jackson. We are going to return you to regular programming now, except in Alberta and Saskatchewan, where Global National continues after a short break.